Have you ever woken up and thought about your to-do list and your to-do list just sent you back to bed? I've had days like this when I'd get up and think about the things I had to do, and then I'd feel so overwhelmed just at the thought of what was on my list, and then I'd go back to bed or just lie down and think about it, doing nothing. Well, most of us do this, in all honesty, especially when we have a lot on our plate. So the question is, what do you do when you have a lot to do and it seems like you do not have the time? Your first step really is for you to drill down to the root cause. You definitely do not want to be in a situation where consistently you have so much on your list to do and little time, right? So the first thing to ask is, did my scheduling systems fail at some point? And an example of having your scheduling systems failing at some point is having a meeting probably this week where you're meant to present, right? And you've been notified of the meeting 2 weeks ago. However, suddenly, you've just realized that it's a day before the meeting and you've not prepared your presentation. And obviously, at the same time, you've got other things that you have to do. Maybe you've got a deadline from your boss that is due and all that. Everything just seems to be due at the same time. So your productivity system has failed simply because you did not prepare for this meeting when you first heard about it. You probably felt, I still got a lot of time. I'm just going to keep that. And even when you were thinking that you should keep it, you didn't secure a spot in your calendar. You did not commit to preparing for the meeting or preparing for the exam or assessment or the interview on a particular day prior to the date. And that's what happens when you've got people who are literally firefighters, emergency men, those who are called in. Basically, you feel like you're jumping from one fire to the other. Every single day, you've got a deadline that you could have prevented from being an emergency, right? That's an example of your systems failing. Now, when I did my master's, I knew I had my daughter, who was just 2 years old. I think she became 4 when I was done. So she was about 2. She was a toddler who would need me at strange times, right? So I created a system where I ensured that my assessments were wrapped up at least a week before the due date, because I didn't want to leave it till a day prior and then realize that I cannot sit up all night typing because my daughter maybe is ill and she needs me or something has just occurred. I just could not afford that. And that's what you should think about. What if something occurs a day prior that prevents me from being able to execute effectively, from being prepared for this meeting? And for some of you, it's the adrenaline that comes with it. The adrenaline that comes with it's a day prior. You can't move until it's actually here. Like that meeting is actually here. But you have to think about it that there are times that you would have more than one thing that is actually seeking your attention. So you need to create a system where you are actually prepared of finishing or acing your goals way before the due date. That's the only way you're not going to get stretched or overwhelmed. And that's one example, right? The second example is, are you saying yes where you should say no? And I'm going to continue with this example on our next discussion because I really do not want to take much of your time today. So your take home today is that, are you leaving things till the very last minute? Are you going to create a system that actually works for you, that enables you to be ready prior to the due date? Let that be your goal this week. Have a fantastic week.